People in our town avoided Black Hollow Cemetery, not because it was old, but because it never felt empty. Even during the day, the air was heavy, unnaturally silent. No bird sang there. No wind moved the trees. When my uncle died, I had no choice but to attend his burial there. The moment my foot crossed the rusted gate, I felt it, as if unseen eyes turned toward me all at once. During the funeral, something strange happened. The priest paused mid-prayer, his voice trembling. He stared at the graves behind us, his face drained of color. When I turned around, I saw nothing unusual, just rows of cracked tombstones. But I felt it again, a presence standing far too close, breathing without air. That night, I dreamed of the cemetery. In my dream, the graves were open but empty. The soil was disturbed, fresh. Shadows moved between the tombstones, whispering my name. I woke up at exactly 3:17 a.m., my ears ringing with distant sobbing that slowly faded into silence. The next day, I returned to the cemetery alone. I don't know why. Something pulled me back. As I walked deeper inside, I noticed footprints in the dirt, barefoot, thin, and wrong. They didn't belong to the living. The footprints stopped in front of an unmarked grave, one I was sure hadn't been there before. When I leaned closer, the ground beneath the grave began to vibrate. A low whisper rose from below the soil. Dozens of voices layered together. They weren't screaming, they were pleading. "Don't leave us," they said. I ran, but the cemetery seemed to stretch endlessly, the exit farther away than before. From that day on, the spirits followed me home. I saw them in reflections, standing behind me, faces blurred, mouths open too wide. At night, my walls knocked from the inside, as if something trapped was trying to escape. Dirt began appearing on my floor every morning. Cemetery dirt. I searched old town records and discovered the truth. Black Hollow Cemetery was built over a mass grave. Long ago, an entire village was buried alive after a plague outbreak. The spirits were never properly laid to rest. They weren't evil. They were angry and desperate to be remembered. One night, the spirits finally showed themselves fully. My room filled with cold mist. Figures emerged, translucent, broken, their faces frozen in terror. They reached toward me, not to attack, but to pull me with them. "You hear us," they whispered. "You belong with us now." I realized the cemetery wasn't haunting people randomly. It chose listeners, those who noticed, those who remembered. The spirits needed a voice, a living one. Every name forgotten on those graves was slowly carving its way into my mind, replacing my own memories. Tonight, I'm writing this from inside the cemetery. I don't know how I got here. The gate is locked. The graves are open again, waiting. I hear the whispers beneath my feet, louder than ever. If someone finds this story, remember us. Because once the spirits are forgotten, they come looking for someone to replace them. The ground beneath me was cold and damp, even through my shoes. I tried to push the cemetery gate again, but it wouldn't move. That's when I realized something terrifying. The cemetery wasn't locked anymore. It was closed. The mist thickened, swallowing the moonlight. The tombstones around me had changed. Names I didn't recognize before now felt familiar, like memories I never lived. A soft humming drifted through the air, slow and sorrowful. It came from beneath the ground. Graves began to sink slightly, as if something below was shifting. I felt pressure behind my eyes. Flashes of lives that weren't mine. Children hiding, villagers screaming, doors being nailed shut. I dropped to my knees, overwhelmed by centuries of buried fear. A figure rose from the fog, not fully formed, more like a silhouette stitched together from shadows. Its voice wasn't spoken aloud. It echoed inside my head. "You hear us because you are empty," it said. I wanted to deny it, but the words struck too close. The spirits weren't hunting randomly. They were searching for someone hollow enough to carry them. As I moved deeper into the cemetery, the ground became softer, almost warm. The graves here had no dates, no names, only symbols scratched into stone. I understood then. These were the forgotten ones, the spirits that even history abandoned. Their whispers grew louder, overlapping, forming a single command. Stay. Time stopped behaving normally. The sky above the cemetery flickered between night and dawn. I saw myself standing among the graves, not as I was now, but older, motionless, a caretaker of the dead. The vision faded, but the feeling remained. The cemetery wasn't a place. It was a role waiting to be filled. I tried to scream for help, but my voice came out as a whisper, identical to theirs. Panic surged. My reflection appeared in a cracked tombstone. My eyes were darker, deeper, like something was watching from behind them. Dirt clung to my hands, and no matter how much I brushed it away, it returned. The spirits gathered around me in a circle, their forms clearer now, faces twisted with grief, not malice. One stepped forward and gently placed its hand over my chest. I felt my heartbeat slow. "You will remember us," it said, "and we will finally rest." I resisted with everything I had. Memories of my life flooded my mind. Sunlight, laughter, names, warmth. The spirits recoiled, shrieking silently. The cemetery shook. Tombstones cracked. The fog tore apart like fabric. For a moment, I thought I had won. I woke up outside the cemetery gates at sunrise, mud-covered, exhausted, alive. People said I had collapsed during the funeral and wandered off in shock. Black Hollow Cemetery looked normal again. Birds sang. Wind moved the trees. Everyone believed it was over. But last night, at 3:17 a.m., I heard humming beneath my floor. Soft, patient, familiar. The end.